here's the story. So what happened was, I believe in 2005, I was sent to London, right? The UK. And I went there to pioneer a new church, to start a brand new church from scratch. I would be going everywhere to evangelize, meeting people on the streets, meeting them at parks, meeting them at libraries, all these different places and such, right? And one of the things I really needed at that time was a laptop. Like I really, really needed a laptop. And I was just like, God, if I need to report, to other churches of what's going on, I need a laptop so I can send news to them. I can, send pictures and all those different. I was like, God, I really, really need a laptop. So here I am praying about this laptop. And every day when I was going to, spread the gospel all over the streets, there was this one electronic store I would always stop by because they had all these laptops lined up for people to look at. And every day I would go into that store and check out laptops because I'm like, God, I need a laptop. And of course, sometimes we see a laptop and there's something that's good enough for what I need. And it's cheap too. But, you always like, oh, but look at that laptop. Oh, but look at that. Oh, look at that. And you kind of get into this laptop that's like $2,000, $3,000. You're like, oh, I really need this kind of thing, right? And every day I would go in there. Now, one day, when I came out of that shop, there was some guy who was leaning on the wall. And as I passed by, he says to me, "You looking for a laptop?" And for me, I was like, what? How did you know? And I was like, this must be from God. So I was like, yeah. And he's like, hey, I got a laptop for sale. And he started telling me his story, like, man, our family's running into some hard times. And we really, I really just sell this laptop. So he takes me around the corner into an alley. So you already know there's a bad sign, but because of my, I'm so naive at that time, thinking that this is God doing this for me, I follow him into the alley and he takes me into his car. So now I'm sitting inside his car and he shows me a laptop and says to me, this is a laptop. It's like a brand new Sony laptop. He shows me the receipt and I was like, whoa. And he says to me, like, this thing, I remember I was in London. He's like, it's 1,500 pounds. And I'm like, just gotta let you know, I'm a minister and I don't have that kind of money. And he said to me, well, how, I'm desperate. How about 1,200? And I was like, I just don't have that money. He's like, 800. And the moment he said 800, it was so interesting because in my thoughts, I was like, whoa, this guy is really desperate. I wonder how low I can get it. Right? And he's like, come on, man, 800, that's like half the price. I was like, I can't do it. And then I started gaining confidence, like I have the upper hand because this guy is desperate. And he brings it down to 400. And I basically said to him, I just got to let you know, I don't have that type of money. I just can't. And he says to me, what can you afford? And this is a red flag, but because of my stupidity, I'm just like going, oh, I can pick my number. And I told him 200 pounds, which was like about the amount of money I had left in my bank account. And I was like, am I really going to get this laptop for 200 pounds? And I was like getting really excited. He's like, then you see him like, he's so down, like, oh, I can't do 200. He's like, all right, okay. Yeah, I really need this for my family. And he says, okay, I'll sell it to you for 200. So he's like, okay. And he said, I'll even give you a laptop bag. So he takes a laptop bag, puts the laptop in it. We go around, and I told him, I don't have that money on me. I got to go to a bank machine. He's like, all right. So I go to the bank machine and he brings a laptop with him. And I take out 200 pounds. I give it to him. He gives me the laptop and he leaves and I leave. I am super excited. I am so happy. Like, whoa, I just got a laptop. Jehovah Jireh. God provides. So amazing. And I run to the Starbucks because I know Starbucks has free Wi-Fi. And I'm like I'm going to celebrate God. I'm going to buy the most expensive drink on the menu. What am I going to get? Caramel macchiato and make it a venti. And I was like so happy and excited. Got my drink, went downstairs, and I'm like, this is it. I sit down at the table, I open up the bag, and I take out a phone book. I was like, what? Where's a laptop? And then I look in the bag and there's like 2 bricks on the bottom to give it weight. I was like, what the heck? I look, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got conned. And I was like, no way. I ran back outside, going back to that alley, and of course, they were gone. And I sat there just like, no way. I was completely devastated and broken. And I was like, I just gave him the last bit of money that I had in my account. And how am I going to live for the next month? And I was too ashamed to tell, the church, the people there that were supporting me that I just got conned, and I couldn't say anything. And I kind of just lived off like scraps for the rest of the month. And I was sitting there so devastated, like, I am so sorry, God. Even the money that I spent, the 200 pounds that I gave, that was the money you gave me, and I squandered it like this. And I was repenting about this. The crazy thing that happened was the next month, I get a call from my parents. And my parents say to me, it's like, hey, is there anything you need? I was like, I need a laptop, this, and this. And my parents said, oh, yeah, we'll get you a laptop. We'll send it to you. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we'll get you a laptop. I was like, what? And they said, oh, we just sold our business for a premium. So what happened with my parents is they have this deli. And one thing that was happening during that time in the 2000s, there were many people from Korea who were trying to move into the States, right? They wanted to go to the States, but it was easier to move to Canada. And then for you to get your visa to Canada, you just need to buy a business. So this rich Korean guy comes to Vancouver, sees my mom's business and says, I'll buy it off you and I'll pay for more than it's worth. And not only will I do that, I'll hire you guys to run to run that deli. So this rich Korean guy pays for this business more than it's worth. They have all this extra money and they bought me a laptop. And this is one thing that I realized at that moment is like, man, like isn't it so crazy? The different type of expectations we have, how God works in our life, like we really look for the miraculous things. Someone standing on the side asking me, do I need a laptop? Like they're reading my mind, giving me a 1,500-pound laptop for only 200 pounds. Like this is what we kind of expect. But God does it in these reasonable and rational ways that we don't expect. And it ends up hurting us. That here I am, I don't even get those 200 pounds, right? I lose 200 pounds and I'm so embarrassed. I'm suffering for the rest of the month when God has already planned getting me a laptop in a different way, which is way better. That my parents can sell their business. They get paid to work at the business. Like for me, I was like, man, God, it's like Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 and 9. God's thoughts are higher than our thoughts. His ways are higher than our ways. It's so different. But for some reason, we always think at our own level. And I think one of the things that we have to keep in mind is we always have to allow God to work his way. And we can't just be sitting there like, oh, God, I want you to do it this way. I want my parents to buy me a car. I want to win the lottery. I want some amazing, crazy thing to happen so I get a brand new laptop. But when you actually see how God works, even though it's so normal, reasonable, and rational, it's so amazing. And the more and more I've seen the stupidity of myself and my life and my expectations of God, the more I realize, man, God is truly working so amazingly in each and one of our lives. And we have to be those that kind of gives God room to work the way that he wants in such a higher way than what we're actually thinking ourselves. All right.